Okay, shalom, shalom. We are the brothers of the Great Millstone branch here in Chicago. And first and foremost, we want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops. Salutations to all our fellow laborers that's doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so. Now more so than ever, there will be judges. The 144,000, the tabernacle of David, ordained to be the ruling class people here on earth, above all other nations, above all other people, above all other governments. All right? And to the rest of the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, they have the appearance of the heathen, that are among those heathen. They have the appearance of the heathen. This is not a black nor white thing. It's an Israelite thing. And to the few to the few that are learning, to you we say shalom. We just gonna jump right into this thing.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 28 and 8. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old, prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms, of war and of evil and of pestilence.
And those are all those things he mentioned in that scripture are on the table. They're all happening. All right? Evils, woe, terror, war, all those things are happening. All right? Now I saw a video. Now I can't prove that this is true, but what's her name? Kim Iverson. You know, I mess with Kim Iverson. She just put out a video yesterday, and basically she pretty much said that the people responsible for that overrun of the Spanish borders in Spain was, you know, BB and them. You know, the mini hats, that they were behind that. And which I could believe that, because Spain denied them and it denied aid to them and help to them. So I guess he on some well, I'll show you, you know. And then I heard reports that when it went dark, by the time the lights were out, and I think the numbers were up to like 60-something thousand that flooded across the unchecked borders. And they said that there was utter chaos throughout the city. And when the lights went out, those men were kicking in doors, running in through houses. So I already know what was happening. So I imagine there was a whole lot of smacking sound going on with Spanish women throughout the night in Spain. A lot of that clapping sound, and not necessarily they weren't with it. I'm pretty sure a lot of it was against their will. All right? So, that's just the times that we're living in. And it's going to continually get worse. And another thing in the news right now is Dr. Fauci. All right? Dr. Fauci is in the headlines again. And here's the killer thing. That guy called himself Plead the Fifth. But guess what? They messed up when they played that sound bite, because that guy, that one Senator Lawley, I think his name was. Was it Hawley? That one senator, he proved something that I've been saying for years now. All right? And that is that, and let me get to it. What he did was he proved that any code or statute that goes against the law of the land, and we're in Babylon, and the supreme law of the land in Babylon is the Constitution. Another thing I've been saying for years is that they plan to remove the Constitution, because the Constitution is in the way of them taking complete control over everything and the people. So Fauci, all right, or Fauci, let's call him what he really is, Dr. Fauci. Fauci kept pleading the fifth. He was in there like Dave Chappelle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, fifth. Whatever you say, fifth. I mean, he was fifth, F-I-F. He was pleading the fifth, left and right. But it turns out, and I didn't even know this, right? But it turns out that if you've been pardoned of a crime, and then that crime reaches the courts again, you have to answer any questions that come in this law. Now, And Lawley, or Hawley, whatever his name was, he stated the case law. Right? That's a lot of power, because that also supports my argument in my debate about Title 4D. Right? And I'm going to get to why I'm mentioning that. But nevertheless, Esau makes rules, Habakkuk 1:4, he makes rules, and he can't even follow his own rules. So this guy, and then he said, because once he mentioned that case law, he said, I can see how your lawyers behind you are twitching and getting nervous. Right. Which reminded me of when I had to face them two district attorneys. And they didn't expect me to be as well learned about the law as I am. Right. They weren't expecting that. All right, and how they were sitting there wiggling and their seats getting nervous. All right, when you use certain verbiage, you know, when you speak in their language, and they're not used to you speaking that way. All right, but nevertheless, it turns out that if you've been pardoned for something, you've gotten a presidential pardon, and if that crime arises again, of questioning on it, you actually cannot plead the fifth. You have to answer all the questions. So my question is, why is Fauci not in jail for contempt? Right. Because he didn't have the right anymore to plead the fifth. Right. You understand? Right. Right. So let me go ahead and get that scripture.
This Habakkuk chapter 1 and verse 4. Therefore the law is slack, and judgment doth never go forth. For the wicked doth compass about the righteous. Therefore wrong judgment proceeded.
As a matter of fact, somebody Googled 1803 Brown versus Hall case, and that if you've been pardoned, you can't plead the fifth. Just put that in AI, see what comes up. Go ahead.
I wanted to read it in the NLT.
Go ahead, brother. Read it.
Habakkuk 1 and 4 in the NLT. It says the law has become paralyzed, and there is no justice in the courts.
And that's what's going on. You can come by. Come on, man. What y'all standing there for?
It says
go ahead. Go ahead.
It says the wicked foul outnumber the righteous, so that justice has become perverted.
Exactly. Justice has become perverted. These people make laws and then they twist them to meet their own agendas. Yep. But then they want to throw them in your face when they intend to supplant or oppress you. They want to hold. So what they're really doing is saying, no, those laws are for you guys. Yep. That's not for us.
Rules for thee and not for me.
Okay, exactly. Say it again.
Rules for thee and not for me.
There you go. Rules for thee and not for me. Okay? Rules for thee. Shalom, beloved. Shalom, Elder. So yeah, rules for thee, but not for me. So they just proved that to be true. All right, even more so. You know what? I'm gonna take them down just past you, Elder. Okay. There you go. So yeah, so what was that? Oh yeah, so Fauci actually does not have the legal right to plead the fifth anymore because he was already pardoned on the subject matter. Okay, so he can't plead the fifth. Okay, so and that just goes to show you too, like I said, America does a lot of things when it comes to these foreign treaties, these codes, because what he did was he pushed this code and this mandate, whatever the numbers were, that they signed and bullied people into taking those shots. And then all the people that died as a result of it, because they can't deny that anymore. Okay? This isn't medical information, this is fact. People died, more people died from taking the cure than they did from the actual disease in the specific demonstration that we're speaking about. All right? More people died that took the medicine than they did from not taking it. Yeah. And then they had this whole campaign to continue demonize everyone. And it's like I watched the media I watched these replays of celebrities and all these different talk show hosts. What's that weird dude? He's always got weird sexual things on his show. The mini hat. Larry, what's his name? No. Well, I forget that guy's name. The dude with the big nose and the curly hair. There you go. That dude. Right? Him, and they were calling everybody, people who didn't take the you know what, that didn't take it, they were calling them evil and selfish, and they're the problems in society, and maybe we should just make their lives hard and remove them from society and blah, blah, blah. Like I said, you bully people into taking a shot, and people died as a result of it. Right? You bully people into taking that shot, and then people who refuse to take it, they lost their jobs, they lost their friends. That whole situation broke up families. That whole situation broke up families. People lost their jobs. Weddings were called off. All kind of madness over that stupid shot, man. And now the truth of it is come out. Okay, so and all the videos that you removed from Great Millstone and other people, you need to put all of them back up. All right? Because it turns out that the truth is out. More people were harmed from the shot than they were harmed from COVID. And that's undeniable fact at this point. All right, just because you don't want to make it a main point in your media, okay? Because when they talk about it, it's a very short period of time, and then they just move on to the next story, like you did just say that. Right. All right. And now this ninja wanna plead the fifth after he got rich, and it turned out that old ugly ass wife of his, Miss Brady, whatever her name is, that she was in charge of, get the name of the department that deals with the approving of drugs for the FDA. So now you see the connection, and why he was going around, why he pushed so hard, because he got wealthy, right? And he made they said he made he made over 12 million, and then that's not even the tip of the iceberg. Okay, he made all that money while people were dying and suffering, right? And lives were destroyed, man. And you know what? And that mentally broke a lot of people. That whole thing. And the truth of the matter is, America never really recovered from that. All right, America rebounded from the 2008 crash, which was devastating, better than they did from COVID. People are still mentally scarred and screwed, jacked up from COVID.
Stores never came back.
They never came back.
They was already floating, they're trying to stay above water.
Exactly.
Because the economy is all screwed up because these wicked people lie.
No, you're right, because like I said, people are still maintaining what was left of what happened after the crash of 2008. After what happened, now with that COVID thing just killed all the people that were still struggling. Because the stores never really recovered, the restaurants never really recovered. Now there's a few that are still doing well. There was a few that are still doing well, but for the most part,
a lot of stores open for years, they closed down when that happened.
Real quick, that's why I've been saying, man. This whole time, right? They were telling us to do what? Trust the science. Now the science is pleading the fifth. Because they don't even trust the science.
Exactly. The science was all a fraud. It was a lie.
It was a lie from the beginning.
It was a lie. Okay? Just like, I made a comment on a video on Instagram. There's this one Ephraimite dude, or he's a Dominican, and he's trying to claim all his African roots. And I wrote on this video, I said, no, the people that came here from Africa weren't from Africa. They came from Western Asia. Right? They were refugees in Africa. They weren't from Africa. Okay? And then he tried to use 23andMe, and I'm like, are you serious? People were sending in their blood samples from their parrots, from their lizards and pet turtles, and it was coming back telling them how much percentage they was of this. And I was like, really? So, and then the killer was the three triplets, the identical triplets, those blonde chicks, right? And they all sent their samples in, and all of their samples came back different. They're identical triplets.
Wow.
All right? And how rare is that? Usually you get identical twins,
Right.
and you get triplets, but they don't all because you really, unless you knew these broads, you spent a lot of time around, you would know which one you were talking to.
No, yeah, I had triplets.
Right? So there you go. So yeah, it's rare. But you had identical triplets, and these triplets all put in their DNA, and all three of them got different DNA. So 23andMe was a joke, and that was what they argued was based upon. Then on the fact, niggas just want to be Africans. You do anything to hate on your African heritage. And I'm like, but anyway, that's a whole other lesson. Go ahead and read that, brother.
This is what the other was citing. It's Brown versus Walker, 1896. It says the Supreme Court explicitly ruled that if the witness has already received a pardon,
which Fauci did.
Yep. He cannot longer set up his privileges since he stands with respect to such offenses as it have been committed.
There you go. So now that those offenses came back around, he can't plead the fifth. When new evidence and something else happened, which brings that right back, he read it again.
It says this is a Brown versus Walker in 1896. The Supreme Court explicitly ruled that if the witness has already received a pardon, he cannot longer set up his privileges since he stands with respect to such offenses as if it had been committed.
There you go, man.
Like they always said, they explicitly said you cannot, you can't have it both ways.
You can't stand on your privileges.
Right. Yeah.
See, you already been pardoned for this crime.
Right.
But now new witnesses and new people have showed up. New evidences have showed up. So now we got to talk about this crime again. Now you can't the same way that Esau can't get out what he done.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm gonna call those this. So this is Burdock versus United States, 1915. The court clarified that a person has the right to refuse a pardon, and if they reject it, they can keep their Fifth Amendment protection. Once accepted, however, the pardon wipes out the threat of prosecution, removing the basis for pleading the Fifth regarding those specific pardon acts.
Right.
They clarified.
So that's two cases. Send me that box. So, and basically, when you got case law, go to show you how Esau is just unrighteous. Nobody give Isaiah 10 and 1.
I got it right here.
All right, because in my particular case, my personal theme, my battle, my stuff is in limbo again. Because what they're trying to do, they're trying to figure out if they're going to give me a remedy or if they're going to dismiss it. All right, and it's going to be hard for them to dismiss it because of the way that I presented it this time. But one thing that I did, and one of the main things that I proved, is that if that this particular thing is a foreign treaty, and you cannot put a U.S. national under a foreign treaty. And I want to read something for you. And this is from their own information. All right? And it says, because I put in that, no foreign treaty, I forget how I worded it, but here it is. These are the results for no foreign treaty can override the U.S. Constitution. So a lot of these statutes and codes that they have Americans doing are foreign treaties. Or they're codes and statutes that go against the law of the land. So whether it's foreign or domestic, no code, no statute that goes against the Constitution is legal to place upon you. Title 40 child support is one of those, because it is indeed a foreign treaty out of The Hague. It's not American. Okay? So it says, no foreign treaty can override the U.S. Constitution. The U.S. Supreme Court has repeatedly confirmed that the federal treaty-making power is strictly subordinate to the structural limits of individual rights guaranteed by the Constitution. Let's put that in the camera. Okay?
Yep.
Okay? So, any foreign treaty that goes against the law of the land, any code or statute that go against the law of the land, like making somebody take a shot if they didn't want a shot, take it, that was unconstitutional and couldn't legally be enforced. All right, so any president, any congressman, any lobbyist group that come with something that's anti-constitutional, right? That does away with your due process, like Title 4D does. Okay, because the way Title 4D is enforced, it goes by your due process, meaning the process of seeing if this should even be done to you. So all the checks and balances that go with it, they override. Okay, so I'm gonna give you an example, just so you understand what we're dealing with. But you give me that Isaiah 10:1 first.
It's Isaiah chapter 10, verse 1. It says, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and their right grievousness which they have prescribed.
And they prescribe grievousness. They create grief. They create suffering and collect payments. They make your life impossible. So let's say this brother, beloved brother, he has a child with a woman, right? Okay? Now, she can either take what he gonna give to her, or he can allow him to be her man and lead and take care of her, or she gonna run and do something and put him in the system, put him on the system. And I've seen that backfire with him, where because sometimes a man end up not having to pay it all. But all that aside, usually if the man has a job, they automatically take 30% of his earnings. Okay, 30% off. So let's say you make $70,000 a year, they automatically take it 30%. If you make $30,000 a year, they're automatically taking 30%. Now, especially the guy that's making $30,000 a year, you take 30% of his wealth. How the fuck he gonna live?
Right.
All right. He's not gonna be able to live. You won't be able to keep your house, your apartment, your car, and then consider too that he got other children, other responsibilities. And now see, now the due process part, just so you know, how they're supposed to do it, they don't do this. What they're supposed to do is they're supposed to bring you into court, right? This is the part that they don't do with Title 4D. They're supposed to bring you into court, all right? And they're supposed to make an assessment of all the bills and responsibilities that you already have. You understand? And then determine what amount you can or cannot pay. And in some cases, they'll be like, well, this man don't make enough. He got 3 kids already, okay? He's paying for his car, he's taking care of his children, he's taking care of his family, and they may decide that, well, he can't pay. And that's what they so, but they don't do that. Now understand, that's the portion of the due process. They go around due process. They just look, oh, well, he makes 50 grand. He makes 100 grand. 30%. 30%. And they haven't given you the due process and your day in court. So what they do is they completely trample over your civil rights, which is unconstitutional. And they trample over your civil rights with a foreign treaty that's not even American. See?
Hey, your brother even told me that before you even give your child support, you start making child support payments, you got to give them a cut. They got to take 30%, but you got to pay them like $500 to initially start your payment process.
That may or may not be true. I don't know about that part, but I do know that it says in their bylaws that Title 4D child support was never intended for the custodial parent. So if I'm the custodial parent, all right, and I'm trying to take this woman to child support, but because I have a child, it says it never was meant for me, nor the child, but it was meant for the state treasury. It tells you that right in their bylaws. So they don't give a damn about, we're talking about people who spray shit over food, inoculate children with things and make them all kind of, they don't care about children. It's all a money grab.
Yeah, and if you
it's a money grab.
You can't pay, they throw you in jail.
Exactly. And there's a law against that.
Yep.
There's a law, there's a debt, somebody look that up, see if you can find it. There's a debtor's law that you can't throw a person in prison for debt. And I think they killed that law in the 18 or maybe even the 1700s. If you have a debt that you can't pay and they throw you in jail for it, they killed that. Well, you can't do that anymore. So that in itself is against the law. Violating the Constitution. When they grab men and throw them in jail, or grab women and throw them in jail, it's very rare that it's a woman.
Right.
It's usually men. Probably about 95% men. Did you find that one? Well, how many scriptures you got written about?
This is what it's saying when you look it up. I looked at what you're saying, but they're not doing this. It says you cannot go to jail for simply failing to pay standard consumer debts. Actually, let me do something else.
This is Daniel 7:25. It says that he shall speak great words against the Most High, and he shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think that they change times and laws, and they should be given to his hand until time is time and the dividing of time. So that's exactly what Esau has done continuously. He is like Elder's going into. He's amended his laws, changed his laws, just to get at Israelites. That's what he's done continuously, as well as the rest of the world. He don't care about nobody but himself. His own race has brought him to his wickedness. He's constantly changing stuff to benefit him.
And this information that we're sharing, you used to learn this in school. They took this out of the schools a long time ago. They took civil law out. Right? And all of a sudden they started pushing this to become a lawyership. You know, and lawyers are, their loyalty is to the bar, which is a British Admiral Registry. Right. They're not to the Constitution, to the British Admiralty. British
Admiralty.
What is it? What's the myth of
Admiralty.
And registry.
Yes.
So that's what the bar is. The BAR. Go ahead, bro.
I'm gonna read two things just to show you how they're doing this and what the elder is saying. So the first thing I looked up was about the debtors law. It says you cannot go to jail simply for failing to pay standard consumer debt like credit cards, medical bills, or personal loans. But you could go to jail for this is like court orders or required hearings or fail to pay child support and taxes, right? Now, watch how they play it though. It says, I said debtors law, you can't go to jail for not paying your child support. It says that is a false premise. You can go to jail for not paying child support because child support is legally classified as a court-ordered duty rather than a consumer debt.
Which is a lie because so that way you tell you that your courts are committing fraud, and everybody involved in that process is committing fraud. Why? Because it is a foreign treaty. Okay, it's a foreign treaty. Title 4D is a foreign treaty out of the Hague. Okay.
Ooh. So
Go ahead.
So reading on, it say, so it says why child support differs from regular debt. Right. The first point they say is contempt of court. Failing to pay means you are violating the direct order from the judge. Now this is one to the open.
And so how are you going to violate? So what if the man just can't get a job?
Right. So
Right. Because look at what's going on now.
Yeah.
I mean, with even you got 9 million people right now, probably more than that now, but it's like 9 million people with unpaid student debt. 9 million people with unpaid student debt. Are you serious?
$1 trillion.
Okay, that's a lot of money, bro. Okay, and a lot of them were just saying, "Hell with it. I'm not paying it. I can't pay it." You gonna lock 9 million, young Americans up? Go ahead.
now this
You're not gonna lock them up, especially if they fail. All right. Go
this
ahead.
proving your point. Now it says the willingness factor, right? It says judges can order jail time only if they prove you had the money to pay and chose not to.
Ooh, so they're not doing that. Wait a minute. Come on, man.
Yeah, let me back.
Wait, what he just screenshot that and send it to me.
It says the willingness factor. Judges can order jail time only if they prove you had the money to pay and chose not to.
Now, how many men are locked up because they just don't have it?
You're locked up right now.
They didn't have it. All right? They didn't have what you was asking. They had something, but they didn't have what you was asking. All right?
And this is what the elder that's going into. This is it says collection law, just backing them up. And this is really a collection law. It says it is illegal for debt collectors to threaten you with arrest or jail for not paying a bill.
So Title 4D is going to fall in that.
Exactly.
You see, that's those amendments.
And that's what it says
change
right
the
here.
times of law.
Exactly.
All right?
Yeah, it says special exception, like the elder went into. So they changed it to the maritime law to get around this Constitution.
So they follow maritime UCC codes, which are anti-constitutional. You can't take U.S. nationals and put them under UCC laws.
Yep.
Maritime, and that's what they're doing to you. And nobody's saying anything. Well, a few people that's wise enough to fight it, but the majority of people don't. As a matter of fact, the Federal Reserve itself really has a right to even exist. But it does because nobody stood up to go against it.
Right.
It's not even a part. The Federal Reserve acts as if it's a fourth part of government.
And one of them did make out.
And it's not. Yeah, and the one president that spoke up against it, you know, they off him.
Oh, yeah.
You know, the mini hats took care of him.
Yep.
Shoot out of here.
Right? You know? Because you know them the real thugs, real gangbangers. The mini hats.
Yeah.
They nicknames, all of them nickname is Bugsy. Yasheen.
Real gangster.
Right. You gotta pay me, Yasheen. You gotta pay those taxes, Yasheen.
Right, that's what it says. Special exceptions for taxes, child support, all their money grabs. They make exceptions to steal. You know, the scriptures say that the thief comes out but to steal, kill, and destroy, and this is what Esau does.
Bring it out, brother. This is the book of Ecclesiastes, Sirach, chapter 34, and verse 22. He that taketh away his neighbor's living slayeth him, and he that departeth the labor of his hire is a bloodshed. Ooh, so you a bloodshedder, man. When you take away a man's wages, because that's what often happens. What happens with a lot of men, some women, but mostly men. All right? Is they begin taking so much money from them, they can no longer afford to take care of themselves. So they have to downgrade their lives.
Right. And then if they get incarcerated, you got a felony, you can't get a job. So now you got a record, so when you get out of the jail system, you can't get a job because they put you in the system.
They're all about
It's all the
going
trap.
back.
Exactly, right. So how the hell is that right? So he ain't gonna never be able to pay child support. You locking him up. What kind of shit is that? Make it make sense.
What you got, brother?
This is Ecclesiastes 31 and 24. It says, but against him that is a niggard of his meat, the whole city shall murmur, and the testimony of his niggardness shall not be doubted of. And a niggard just means a stingy person. And there's no other person more stingy than bad Uncle Esau. All right, that nigga want everything.
Yeah, he
Everything. And then some. Like the scripture says, if great gatherers would have came, would they just left a few? No, not Esau. He taking everything. I think you gave the best analogy with what was that, the Grinch? That
Yeah.
stole Christmas, but he would took the crumb for the mouse.
That nigga came back for the crumb, man. Mouse came out, belt around his stomach, growling, found the crumb, and the Grinch came back and took that crumb from him. There.
I got the law.
Go ahead, brother.
It's Deuteronomy 24 and 6. No man shall take neither the upper millstone to pledge, for he taketh a man's life to pledge. And the upper millstone, it goes into like a collateral, right? It's no, not collateral. It's what somebody needs to live. So if he an Uber driver, you take his car away, you taking away
Take
his
his
living.
license.
His way of making a living.
If he a fisherman and you take away his boat and his rod or
Take
his
away his
net,
license.
you taking away his living.
See, because they get, see, this thing is that you'll have God-given skills that Esau didn't teach you.
You need a license.
All right? You can shoot 3-pointers. They say you shoot 3-pointers, 10 of them. You shoot you shoot 3-pointers 10 times. And every time you do that, 8 or 9 of them hit. You think that somebody gonna knock you trying to recruit that individual? If he shoot 10 for 10, and if it's not 10 for 10, it's 10 for 8 or 9. They're not gonna try to recruit this dude. You think that? And so now, you know, now Esau, you got to sign all kind of contracts, get a license to play the game.
Yeah.
Right? And if you do something that they find unappealing, they're just gonna make it to where you can't play anymore. All right? Because to fish, you need a fisher's license.
Yeah.
Even though you grew up and your father, your grandfather were master fishermen.
Yeah.
You fished all your life, so you know how to fish. Okay? And so now, how are you to come give me a license to use what I've been taught from my childhood up?
Yeah, right.
My granddad, I'm 3 years old, been looking over the side of the boat like this. You know? And he done taught you all these tricks of how to fish, and what to do and what not to do, and what part of the water, and you know, when the water moving like this, the school over there. You just know all these little tricks. And now here I come with a license.
Right. Yeah, you gotta get his
Right.
You gotta get his permission.
You got to get your permission. If you can paint, You got to get his permission.
Yeah.
Who the fuck are you?
Right. If not, you get fined.
Right. You know, you got to, exactly. To get on this land, you got a license for this, a license for that. You know? Go ahead, bro.
This the same verse in the NLT, Deuteronomy 24:6. It is wrong to take a set of millstones or even just the upper millstone as security for a loan, for the owner uses it to make a living. So yeah, whether it's a loan, even in the NIV, it's say for a debt. So if you take away somebody's ability to pay you, they can't pay you. Stupid.
I got one to back up what you were just saying.
He don't care, man. He all about the president.
I got one to back up what the brothers were just saying, the elder as well. This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 48. It says, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which the Lord Yahweh shall send against thee, in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. You know, and what the elder is saying, you get a skill, like the elder was fishing, for example. You learn how to fish at 3 years old, been doing it for 20 years. Now I gotta go to you to use the skill that I have, man. That's having to go to your enemy for one of all things.
Exactly.
Man.
I didn't learn this from you. Matter of fact, you can't even do this. Okay? You can't do this. All right? That's why they took away that whole apprenticeship.
Yeah.
See, there was a time in America when you didn't have to go and get all these lights. They realized they can make money and they can keep Jake out of the workforce. Because you got to think about it. Esau wasn't building his own building. He wasn't laying his own pipes.
Exactly.
He wasn't doing this. Jacob was doing all of that. So I think they called him journeyman.
Yeah.
Right?
Apprentice,
You had a apprentice and a journeyman. So you had a man who was a master builder. He could bricklay, he could carpet, he could do carpentry, he could do all that stuff. And he took on a couple of young men that worked up under him for so many years until they were now considered, you know, and that was it. And then they would branch out or continue with him or branch out on their own or help him expand his business. All right, now they become partners. I learned under him for 20 years. And now I'm running my own office under his name, and we still making money together all these years later. Esau was like, oh, hell no. You know, so they took that away. The same way they took all those programs at the high school. Okay? They had you had shop, you had wood shop, you had all these different, you had I remember people were taking their cars up to CVS and the students were fixing people's cars. Okay? So you had master mechanics in and work with them and guided the young men on how to do this. So by the time they graduated, they were going right to mechanic shops and getting jobs.
And then they could work in their own garage.
They could
Well,
work.
y'all wasn't hired.
You gave them a way to feed and take care of themselves.
Exactly.
Right? Because if you didn't, from your freshman year to your senior year, you don't walk through 30 or 40 cars, you know something.
Exactly.
You know? You got some skills now. Okay?
It's needed now.
So, but Esau took all that shit away. Because what was happening? The vocational schools like CBS, Jacob, because my cousin, right to this day, that dude could build a building from the ground up. He could do electricity, he could do carpentry, he could do bricklaying, he could do all of that, man. And he went to CBS. Right? But after he's a few years older than me, but after he graduated, all the programs was gone now. Right? It was gone because what was happening was Jake was coming out of high school, going right into the workforce and doing well. All right? While Esau was going to college and renting himself, trying to get a degree in sociology. All right? It's different, right? Sociology and all these other things. All right? He's trying to get all these degrees. Jake been in the workforce, you know, building buildings, building houses, building homes. All right? So by the time Jake's 30 years old, he got his own. Now he's buying a house, flipping a house, and fixing it up and selling it. Well, you barely working and still trying to pay off, you know, $100,000 worth of school debt. They didn't like that. So what? They eliminated that. Because that took Jake out of the competition. It's like, damn, y'all niggas already got the big dicks. Y'all already getting all the hoes. Okay? So you can't have everything. Right? Okay.
This is Psalms 10 and 2. It says, the wicked in his pride never persecute the poor. Never be taken in the devices that he have imagined. It says, for the wicked boast of his heart's desire, and bless the covetous whom the Lord abhorred. So these devils have always been plotting against us, you know, and then they are full of greed, lies, and bribery. But the Lord hates them, he's going to bring them to a quick destruction.
Yeah, and these Edomite women keep bringing out live on the internet how they men hate us and are jealous of us. All right? And it's coming from the horse's mouth. It's coming from their own women. Okay. The women are telling the truth about these matters. Okay? They have straight penis.
All day, every day. Obsessed with it.
Okay? Obsessed with us.
And I don't blame you. Look how handsome we are.
To the point that they're attacking us. All right? And they're attacking themselves at the same time. Messing up the food, the water, and all the way that they do it. So now you go men, you know, buying the damn Viagra and Cialis and all that bullshit. All right?
This is Sirach 10, verse 3. An unwise king destroyeth his people.
Sorry. It is what we in Babylon. No, he said the house of black. Nobody even looked back at it. I never even looked at this. Yeah. So what we gonna do next door to the niggas? Yeah. With boxing with the liners and shit like this.
I'll take it.
These 90 niggas right here.
Go ahead. I'll take it.
Unwise king destroyeth his people.
You know what? We'll move to the niggas.
Even though they defile the rainbow, it's still not covered. You know what I mean? So, like the level just said, you're not going to say it's still spiritual. These devils ain't going to get no victory.
They high as hell. Hey, folks, cut my hair, dog. I got you, nigga. That's a soft boy.
Right.
That shit follow me, man.
You got you kick me in the back. Crispy.
Niggas just got to eat the motherfucking tumble cheeseburger. Pork chop.
Yeah. There you go. All right.
This place got to go.
Continue.
This is Sirach 10, verse 3. An unwise king destroyeth his people, and through the prudence of them which are in authority, the city shall be established.
Now go ahead.
Like
We
this,
just read it again. Start it again.
this is Sirach 10 and 3 again. An unwise king destroyeth his people, but through the prudence of them which are in authority, the city shall be established. Right now, he's supposed to be doing everything that benefits him. Like you're saying, like all the skill sets from a lot of these young men out here. You know, so that's how you know he's also an unwise king, because he's really putting a lot of people in self-destruction on that.
Yeah.
This verse 4, the power of the earth is in the hand of the Lord, and in due time he will set over it one that is profitable. This is why he's trying to transfer back over to Jacob. Esau's not created to rule, man.
Right.
But then you read with this. Unrighteous dealings. Verse 8, this is verse 8. Because of unrighteous dealings, injuries and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another.
So this nigga ain't profitable, as the other scripture said, and because of the way that he's done his business and done this, the way he's ran this country, he has to go, man. He can't remain. You know, this will be the nigga, look, Esau has to go after that 1,000 years. This will be the nigga that'll actually try to fight the gods again. Like a fucking idiot, man. He just has to go.
Yeah, right. And that's crazy how you got some ninjas, some nerds that want to bring Esau to the kingdom and give him a place in the kingdom. he is going to have a place. It's called slavery, man.
That's right.
That's going to be his job. And then after that's up, he's out of here, man. You know, because if you can't bring this man to paradise, this was paradise. The matter of fact, the whole world was a paradise.
Yeah.
Until he got dominion over it. Did it not say in First Maccabees that when they got the dominion, the evils were multiplied? Evils multiplied when they came into rulership, man. I just watched, there's a like a YouTube movie about Caligula, right? And I watched like the first 30 minutes or so. I'm gonna watch it all, man. Eventually, I'm gonna take my time with it. But I was like, damn, these Edomites were really wicked. They were all into bestiality, and they were into incest, and they were just wicked as hell, man. And just oppression, man. Oppression upon oppression upon oppression upon their own people, upon their own family members, man.
Caligula, he had a male sex servant. He then castrated him and turned him into his wife. This is Caligula.
They called the nigga, the quote that they always said about Julius Caesar, he was every man's woman and every woman's man. That's what they said about Julius Caesar.
Well, so these are the people that are now ruling the world. That's why you have their flag. Right?
This is Deuteronomy 32, verse 32. It says, for that vine is the vine of Sodom, and of the fields of Gomorrah, their grapes are grapes of gall, their clusters are bitter. So Esau been fucked up for the long way. That's why it said he's a vessel for dishonor, man. He's been wicked. That's why he got to go, man.
I got some. This is Sirach 33 and 31. Now, Sirach 33 and 30. If thou have a servant, let him be unto thee as thyself, because thou hast bought him with a price. If thou have a servant, entreat him as a brother, for thou hast need of him, as of thine own soul. If thou entreat him evil, and he run from thee, which way will thou go to seek him? So you don't want to be a servant under this guy. He got all kinds of weird stuff he got in his mind. And then, when you want to go run away from him, he called you a kleptomaniac. He called you crazy for wanting to leave abuse. Yeah. Think about that. Yeah.
Then I whoop you good. Why you want to run away from me?
Right. We gave you
What
jobs.
kind of what?
We gave you welfare. Can I get this real quick? Absolutely. This is Isaiah 26 and 10. Let favor be shown to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness. In the land of uprightness he will deal unjustly, and will not behold the majesty of Yahweh. So you give this man rulership, look what he's going to do. He's going to be even more bigger sicko. He's going to become more psychopath. All right, he's going to become more power hungry, bloodthirsty, demented. All right, this is what he does. And then it's to the point he's polluted the air, the water, the food, and the minds of the people, man. He has to get out of here. And the Lord is just. He gave you rulership of the earth twice. All right, he gave you Greece, Rome, took you down, and he gave
That's
you
a good scripture,
Britain
brother.
and America. So he gave it to you twice, man. So the Lord is just in eradicating you out the earth.
Oh yeah, you proved the Lord right. That you're not profitable rulers.
At all. At all.
Thank you. In Psalm 73 and 5, they are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. Therefore pride compasseth them about as a chain, violence covereth them as a garment. Their eyes.
Since sentence gets even more nice, you just read and say that you eat. That ain't proud as hell. Don't worry, the Lord finna crush your pride. That's right, boy.
Yeah, because as you make your plans to oppress us, all right, you're being exposed, man. And that's what's making him really press hard.
Yeah.
Because he's going to try to figure out some way to blame and put it on us. Why all this shit is falling apart. Okay? Now, being true, the message of the Lord sped all these things up. So we physically done nothing. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal. Okay? We just read the scripture, speaking the truth. Because nobody else really
fact is, they have more than heart could wish. They are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak falsely. They set their mouth against the heavens and their tongue walking through the earth. That's exactly why I just thought I got to take it out, man.
Yeah, that tongue, that vibration walking through the earth. Right? This is, someone put this up on the comment, but I forget who it was. This is the scripture, Psalm 62 and 3. How long will you imagine mischief against the man? He shall be slain, all of you. As a bony wall shall ye be, as a tottering fence, the main point. Then only consult to cast him down from his excellency. They delight in lies. They bless with their mouth, but they curse inwardly. Say lie. And that's exactly what they do. You know? They bless with their mouth, but really what they're trying to do is they're cursing you. They're trying to set you up. Okay? I forget, I don't know if that was Good Bob or Tom. I forget what show what movie or show that was. You have these Edomites all sitting at the table eating. And you have one Edomite, you spoke on it before. You have the one Edomite talked about how you got to do something. You got to let a couple of your niggas rise. You got a couple of them rise up to keep so that the other ones have something to look to for hope. And that's all these degree Morehouse, Spelman, found, all the college found checks that want to be Greeks and stuff. Okay? Because that's what they're trying to aspire to basically gain position in their enemy's kingdom. He don't give a damn about them. At this point, he don't even give a damn about his own people.
That's right.
Just as many of his own people are homeless and poor and broke down.
Oh, facts.
Okay?
He who was equal to himself, to whom will he do good?
You know?
I got one.
Go ahead, brother.
This is Job 20:11. His bones are full of sin of his youth, which shall lie down with him in the dust. Though wickedness be sweet in his mouth, though he hide it under his tongue, though he spare it and forsake it not, to keep it still within his mouth, yet his meat in his bowels is turned, it is gall of gas within him. So he's trying to hold on to this wickedness as long as he can. This is his rulership. He doesn't realize that the Lord is about to change everything around. So he's doing everything he can to hold on to his wicked kingdom, but the Lord gave him a short time. He sat down, this devil came past, and now his time is up. He says he has swallowed down riches, and he shall vomit them up again. The Most High shall cast them out of his belly. He shall suck the poison of asp, the viper's tongue shall slay him. The Lord has set a plan in motion, right? Like the elders was going into. You've been given certain time to rule this earth in wickedness, obviously because we transgressed the law, so we had to pay for that, but also to ultimately show the world what truly a wicked devil you are. Now the Lord is done with you. He's used you as a whipping stick. Now your time is to be punished because you think you got away with it and you poured the affliction. The Lord got news for you. It's over with. Thus the elder went into shameful steal of your glory. Your women are talking all about you. That's right. On every show, everybody's talking about you. They like, what is going on? Like the elder put it up earlier.
Foreign nations.
God, yeah, Jew America. God. Look, we got something.
Yeah. James 5:3. Well, I'm going to start at 1. James 5:1. Go to now, you rich men, weep and howl for your misery that shall come upon you. Your riches are corrupted. Your garment is lawful. Your gold and silver is cankered. And the rest of them shall be a witness against you, and ye shall eat your flesh as it were fire, as ye have heaped treasures together for the last days.
Right. The denigration of the dollar is a witness against you. And in 1913, before the Fed, $100 was $100. All right, which bought you a whole lot. I gave the example that a Mustang in 1967, a Camaro around that same time rolled off the assembly line anywhere between $3,500 to $2,700. Now those same cars that cost $50,000, $40,000 or more, depending on the model. All right, well, it's not that the price of the car went up. The value of the dollar went down. It's the same $100. You buy so much, you have a $20 bill. A $20 bill in 1920, all right, bought you a suit, got you a hotel room for a couple days, got you a hooker and food. $120 bill. Okay? So basically this guy did a graph on the power of the dollar, and it basically $100 is worth about $3 a day. That's why, yeah, it comes down to about $3. That's what it costs. Well, you was ugly anyway.
This is some info. It says the U.S. dollar has lost approximately 30% of its purchasing power since 2020.
And then it's since 2020.
Since 2020.
So you add the other 60 to that is 90% down. Okay? So like I said, and he said that's just since 2020.
That's 2020, yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
So since 2020, 30% drop.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
It's a wrap.
This is dumb. This is dumb.
Right? Kiss it goodbye. It's gone.
Yeah.
You want to be famous, bro? Yeah. The way he ran. The way he was moving. He was soft.
Yes, sir. This is Psalm 145 and 9. And it says that, Proverbs 12 and 10. It says, a righteous man regardeth the life of his beast, but the tender mercies of the wicked are cruel. You know, this guy is always telling, you know, Jake how he's done so much for them to help them get by and, you know, move up since slavery and Jim Crow and all these other things. But it's like, no, you've only used these things to further our affliction here in America. You know, you want to keep us going. Because Jake, you don't want to see Jake come up.
Yeah.
All right, you do it at air, don't your laws prove every day. You don't want to see Jake come up.
Yeah.
All right, from appraising on homes, getting loans, because I guarantee you, Edomite could probably get a loan for maybe 7%. Jake come in, man, we're gonna charge you about 15. All right,
Sounds about right.
hey, you're not doing Jake no favors.
And the fact that you had over 200 destroyed towns, you know, Jake, specifically Judah, you know, towns and neighborhoods where Judah was autonomously wealthy, where they didn't have to depend on so-called white people, where they have their own neighborhoods, their own cities, all right, that were prosperous, and you went and you burned down over 200 of them. For the simple crime of being more successful than you. How is it that these slaves who came from nothing and had nothing, couldn't read or write, you know, have more successful towns and businesses than you? Well, because you the one that put them up to where they did everything.
Yeah.
So though they couldn't read, don't mean they were stupid.
Yeah.
All right?
To this very day.
Okay?
Those
They
two towns and
they couldn't read because you denied them that. All right? But they did everything. So when they got set free, they just went and started doing what they always did, build shit. And they got together, they built towns, and neighborhoods, and they settled. And what did you do? You went in there and burned them down, and you used city legislation and lobbyists. I wonder what kind of lobbyists. But you went, because I only know really 1% of lobbyists in America. Nobody else got them. But clearly the paperwork clear, where you could just go and take over neighborhoods. All right, where you can go in and have these race riots and things where you destroy whole neighborhoods, people of color. Then all of a sudden, just whatever houses and land is left, you just acquire it because they didn't get it back. You was a home. It was like today. I was a homeowner yesterday. Because yesterday there was a race riot and me and my family barely got out, and my farm is just gone. I can't go back to it. And this Edomites living on that farm. So that means that there was legal paperwork and documents and shit already in play set up to the people. This is what America did. Yeah. Right? That's why my thumbnail is basically, what does it say? It said 250 years of oppression. Rule of oppression.
Yeah.
That's the thumbnail of this video.
250 years of genocide.
Yeah, genocide. There we go.
I was gonna say they're doing it to this very day.
Right.
I got an example to this day. It says right to this day, Janine Lubazan, a Georgia woman, this is a Judite woman, a so-called black woman, right? She spent roughly 2 weeks in federal custody in June of 2026 for civil contempt for refusing to sign over claims to over 1,300 acres of ancestral land in Mississippi. These are her people's, this is her people's 1,300 acres. And you are such a goddamn devil. She's refusing to sign it over. So what did they do?
Wow.
They just took her shit. It says after refusing to sign a quick claim deed to clear the property title, Labuzin was detained by U.S. Marshals on June 5th. It says she was released on June 23rd, 2026, still refusing to sign. Judge Aycock subsequently used federal rules to bypass her signature, strip her of the claims, and close the case.
So I'm willing to bet that they did a lot of violations of the law of the land. Because I'm wondering what those, does it list what those rules and codes are?
Well, shit, the
It's
fact that
eminent domain.
the fact that, I was gonna say the fact she has to sign.
Let's see what the, does eminent domain fall under the Constitution? Or is it something outside the Constitution? Let's hear, let's put that to rest right now.
To this very day, the fact she had to sign paperwork shows that she had claim to the land. But yeah, so it's 2026. They still locking you niggas up and taking your land, man.
That's a damn shame.
He's still doing it.
That is the most disgusting thing I heard in a long time.
1,300 acres of her people's land. Stolen. Just stolen, just fucking took it. By rules of federal regulation. Get the fuck out of here, man. You're the devil, man. He ain't changed, man. You're still a thief, you're still a robber, you're still a piece of shit, man. But then you turn around and say, oh, you niggas, you never built anything, you never did anything. You're a fucking liar, man. You're pathetic, man. You're a liar,
Like I
man.
said, they have a culture. They have a culture of sabotage.
Yeah.
All right, you got to sabotage people who are supposed to be lesser than you in order to raise up above them, man. If you're superior, you don't just have to sabotage everything. Right? You just be superior. Stop sabotaging and lying about everything.
So it says, I'm going to read a little bit of this. It says, yes, eminent domains fall under the Constitution, specifically the takings clause of the Fifth Amendment, which allows the government to take private property only for public use with just compensation. But then it goes
Just compensation, okay.
It says constitutional rules. It says public use. The government must use the land for a public project like a road, school, or utility. Just compensation.
So let's find out. What do they plan on using her land for? Where is it going to? I want to know the number on it. What's the, is there a code or
So that's what I'm going to get.
that's what I'm trying to get
So
to.
it says-
Because if it's a code, or it's more than likely a UCC code.
Now
I'm just what I'm trying to find out.
it says the application of states, the 14th Amendment. This amendment finds the Fifth Amendment's rules of state and local government, meaning local towns and cities must also pay fair for land. I'm a double check and see these in code. So
They'll call a code law. That's what I'm trying to get to.
yeah.
That's what I'm trying to get you to find out. Find out if it's a code or a statute.
I got what they own. It says, the federal court system has ruled against Janine Labuzan's ownership claim and stripped her of any interest in the property. The state of Mississippi is not taking the land for public use.
Ooh.
Instead, the court has formalized control of the 1,300 acres in Washington County for the agricultural corporations and private landowners currently operating on it.
Wow.
Esau Edom. Goddamn
Wow,
devil.
that's a damn devil. Because they confiscated their land for private ownership.
Sound like data
Not
centers.
for
Sound like Bill Gates owning more farmland. Sound like more data centers. That's what it sounds like.
that. So that just infuriates me.
So it says, and I had to ask 3 times to back to student. It says,
Well, when you ask them the right right questions, they start stuttering.
Yeah, all I said is eminent, is there a code for eminent domain? It tells me there is not, it says the word there is not a code for eminent domain. Bitch, that's not what I'm asking you. But nevertheless, I found out the information. So this is how they hide it under what they do. It says eminent domain is not found in just one single code.
Oh, but it is a code.
Yep.
See, that's what I'm trying to, what code?
So it says, it don't get, so it says,
You know, everything has to, like, I'm saying, Title 4D, USC
Yeah.
Code 42. What's the code?
okay. So this is how they invest it. So it says they use the 5th and the 14th Amendment, but then the way that they implement it is each state has its own specific codes for eminent domain.
So let's do this. Because this is what they put in. What's the UCC code? What's the maritime code number for eminent domain? Let's get specific.
That's fucking confused. Maritime is in the sea.
Exactly. But that's what we're under. We're under maritime law.
Yeah.
Because they consider everything products that you ship back and forth. That's how they justify it.
They came out of Mercury now. This man's the goddamn devil.
While you grab that, I'm gonna get this.
Go ahead, brother.
This is good.
Michael, get that. Somebody get that. Subscribe. That shit by law. Bible stuff. Psalm 94.
I got some Bible.
Psalms 94.
Psalm 94 and 20. And it reads, shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by law?
Wow.
Yeah, obviously that wicked man, you saw Edom, you know?
And I'm going to, and this one was Jacob. And this is her heritage, her family land.
That's why they were forcing her to sign it over. If I have to sign something over, that means ownership of it. That means I got paperwork that I own this shit. If I have to sign it over, then you gonna jail me for not signing over my own
And
land.
they might find oil on the internet on tell them what?
1,300 acres, man.
That's crazy. That's strip mall size. Just imagine.
No, 1,300 acres.
1,300
acres, brother.
A strip mall is like an acre or two.
When we go, right before we go over the bridge, when they put that trucking yard,
Right.
that's 8 acres.
Oh, damn.
Think of it exactly.
1,300.
Oh, damn. That's like this whole neighborhood right here. Come on. That's like this whole neighborhood right here.
Yeah, so, yeah.
So I think in some states, if you force somebody to sign something under duress, it's pretty young.
Yeah, and actually,
Right.
you sign something under duress because you throw me in and out of jail. Okay, so did we get that?
So it's not giving me a UCC code, but they had that. But it said it gave a federal jurisdiction code outlined in 28 U.S. code. I don't know what the simple name, but 1358.
Yes, there it is. That's it. Read it again. What is it?
28 U.S. code 1358.
So that basically that's a UCC code.
And then it has the Illinois Eminent Domain Act of 735 ILCS 30 back.
Those are the codes. Those are the code numbers. And code numbers are not constitutional law. So what they're doing is unlawful. It has this done under the color of law, which is illegal. Right? And they do lots of things under the color of law. That being one of them. Title 50 is another. People think because they got a piece of paper from a court order, it still don't make it lawful though. It's being done under the color of law. So that is the code. So, once again, it says no foreign treaty, but that one I cannot read. This one, but I can read this one. Because that's not a foreign treaty, it's out of America, but it does violate this. The general misconception, this is the law of the land definition from the Laws Dictionary Dictionary. From Laws Dictionary, Volume 2. The general misconception is that any statute, okay, because that's another thing, put in the word statute. Alright, that any statute passed by legislators bearing the appearance of law constitutes the law of the land. And so people think because it's a statute and it's on a court document that it's legal. This is telling you otherwise. All right? It says the general misconception is that any statute passed by legislators bearing the appearance of law constitutes the law of the land. The U.S. Constitution is the supreme law of the land. And any statute to be valid must be an agreement. It is impossible for a law which violates the Constitution to be valid. This is succinctly states as follows. All laws which are repugnant to the Constitution are null and void. Right? Then it gave you Marbury versus Madison, 5 U.S. 2 branch. And there's no UCC here. Okay? Now look up statute to see, because just because they give you a court order or something.
So,
Go ahead.
the statute for eminent domain, now I'm just going to read it. It says, eminent domain is governed by the Fifth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, specific federal statutes like 28 U.S. Code 1403, and state level laws such as Illinois Eminent Domain Act 735, ILCS 30.
So it's on the amendment. Okay. Go
And
ahead.
it says, so I asked, when was it instituted? Right? It says, eminent domain was first officially instituted in the United States in 1791 with the ratification of the Fifth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. The amendment stating clause established the boundary for this power. They declared that private property cannot be taken for public use without just compensation. So it's something that they added in there at a later time.
And the stand said without just compensation. Did they give Justine any just compensation?
Jail time.
Damn.
Jail time.
We compensate you with some prison time, girl.
We gonna get that sweat equity out.
Sweat equity out your ass. Yeah, they gave
We
us
gotta
some
nail
deal.
it back.
That was a conversation. 3 hops in the cot for 2 weeks.
Yeah, probably made a back up big over the bars too.
Right.
So ain't gonna get paid.
So, eminent domain, when it's non-military, when it's for non-military use, it's used for transportation, public utilities, public spaces, and economic development. All that shit was private. So these are for private corporations that take it.
So basically what they did was completely and totally unconstitutional.
Completely against the law. Completely, but hey, like the scriptures say,
This
let
is
us
our
pray
race.
for your law of justice, man.
John, bring it out, brother.
This is Wisdom of Solomon 2 and 10. Let us oppress the poor righteous man. Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the age. Let our strength be the law of justice, for that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth.
Wow.
No, that which is feeble is found to be nothing worth, man. So these people rob, steal, and kill, man. They take a man's house and his heritage.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
You know.
This is Sirach 21 and 8. He that buildeth his house with other men's money is like one that gathered himself stones for the tomb of his burial.
Right, and that's what's exactly about to happen, man. All right, you see the movies when the gangsters catch their ops, make them dig their own graves.
Yeah.
You know, they sit there, they in the hot sun. Dudes sit there in the shade, wait for them to finish. Right? Then they you gotta stand. Then they make them stand in front of the whole book or whatever, they just fall in it. Right? Then they make the flunky cover it up. That's exactly what these people do. They're gangsters. Go ahead.
Michael 2 and 1, both of them had advice and victory for people upon the limbs. On the point you place, they practice it because it isn't the power of the hand. And they covet fields and take them by violence, houses and take them away, so they oppress the man. Then it's always put the man inheritance.
Wow. And that's exactly what they did to the sister. They violently took her away, drug her off to jail. Yeah. Because she refused to sign over her wealth. Yeah. But she understood that if I sign this paper, you own all my stuff. All right? So instead of the judge, you know, seeing the case to give out proper justice, the You done made it in your law. You done made mischief by law. So you done made it in your law where you can do that, but you have to compensate. That's supposed to be so. 1,300 acres got to be worth quite a few millions. Matter of fact, it might even be billions depending on where it is. Right? 1,300 acres got to be worth quite a few millions. Right? You know? Yeah, let's see. Matter of fact, that's why we have Google. We'll bring it up.
Deuteronomy 5.
It's a lot. Just make sure Google what 1,300 acres is worth.
Deuteronomy 5:21. It says, neither shalt thou desire thy neighbor's wife, neither shalt thou covet thy neighbor's house, his field, or his manservant, or his maidservant, his ox, or his ass, or anything that is thy neighbor's.
Yeah, it is, man. But you know, Esau knows that we're not really he's not our neighbor anyway. But we understand the law. Okay?
It says a 1,300 acre tract of land in Mississippi is worth roughly 2.3 million to 9.1 million.
Wow. So at minimum, they owe her at least 2.3 million. At minimum. But all she got was a jail sentence. Right? Because if the judge is going to force her to do it, they still have to fulfill that part of the law and give her just compensation. So at minimum, she should have gotten 2.3 million. On the higher end, almost 10. 9.1. I would have pushed for the higher end. Right? I can understand, but then that's also why it says agree what you know when you fight something. And I understand that. When you fight something, you fight for your life, and you fight with all that you have, and you got, you know, you get what you thought was the law. You know, I get it. Cause you know, it's not worth $9 million, but I understand that. But once you realize that you can't beat yourself. So if you're in a position where you can get something from it, take it. See, what she needed was a man of the Lord in her life. Right? She didn't have that. Because he'd have told her, hey, look, baby, go ahead. Like, you know, ask for $5 million, ask for $10 million. Right. Matter of fact, you ask for more, and then they usually gonna drop it down.
That's what, $100 an acre.
All right? You know, and they would have dropped it down, exactly. But they would have gave you, they'd have compensated you. Because I'm willing to bet those companies that's gonna take it, they got the money. They got the money. She should have just said, well, give me 20 million. And they probably would have given you 10.
Yeah.
All right? And 10 million, she could have lived comfortably until Babylon was destroyed.
Yeah.
Which probably wouldn't have been long, but you know. It's best to have 10 million for 2 weeks and not to have 10 million at all. Just saying, you know. All right.
This is Job 24:1.
And I wish it was 2 weeks, but Babylon probably could be around a little bit longer than that. But not long, but go ahead.
Job 24:1. Why seeing times are not hidden from the Almighty? Do they that know him not see his days? Some remove the landmarks. They violently take away flocks and feed thereof. They drive away the ass of the fatherless. They take the widow's ox for a pledge. They turn the needy out of the way. The poor of the earth hide themselves together. And this going into Esau, he just take everything, man. You know, he doesn't play by the rules, man. And if he feels like he got power over you, he's going to take advantage of it, man. That's why it says in Deuteronomy, he said, cursed be he that removeth his neighbor's landmark.
God. Yeah, you remove your neighbor's landmarks, that's a curse on you. All right, and these are the people in the scripture. But it's okay because, you know, the Lord is on his way. And it's as a matter of fact, 3 things came to mind. 3 scriptures, 3 precepts. Right? We're gonna end this thing. So that first precept Get that Isaiah 34th chapter. Read verse 5 and then verse 8.
Isaiah 34 and 5.
Right?
For my sword shall be raised in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Adumia and upon the people of my curse to judgment.
So you're the main target of your house shot. You Edomites. Right? He coming back for all you Edom, but Esau Edom. Self-professed white people. Right? Self-proclaimed, because you're not white. Right? You are the Edomites. And that's not a slur. You know, I put that thing in, I didn't put it up in, I put it up in the bishop's room. Someone sent to me a clip of me, like a 2-minute clip of me. It basically, they asked AI, what is an Edomite? One of my videos popped up. In the line of information. In one of my old videos, and I would sit there, you know, and do them little lessons at my counter. Yeah, it was one of those. Yeah. And it's in the line of information. You know, I give you all the information. It was in there. I was like, you have got to be kidding me. All right? And then they try to say under that, after that, well, this is a racial slander or a slur. It's a slur. It's hurtful for them to call it. That's what you are, man. It's not a slander. It's not a slur. It's the truth. There's too much history. Your own history books is where this information is coming from. Hell, the 1925 Jewish Encyclopedia, the 1971 Jewish Almanac. Well, it could be vice versa. I forget which one is the Almanac Encyclopedia. But it says in both those books, all right, which were backed up by 1,800 scholars and a panel of rabbis, that modern day Jewry is evil. How are we saying this? All right? The book by William Beeston. 1853, the Edomite, the Empire of the Edomites, the Roman Empire of the Edomites, 1853. Come on, man. All right, you are who you are. You the one that told the lie. All right. You know that's what they say about Hitler. Hitler knew who he was and was like, look, man, it's our time to rule. Let's rule with this. All right, that was his mindset. You know, we the Edomites. We Christians. Let's rule this place, man. But you need to, why you guys are following that Schwarzer religion? Right? And we know what Schwarzer means. Do some research. Right?
Verse 8.
Yeah, go ahead and read verse 8.
This is verse 8. Isaiah 34 and 8. For it is the day of Yahweh's vengeance,
Right?
and the year of recompense for the controversy of Zion.
So there's a controversy about who Zion really is. Read.
And the streams thereof shall be turned into a pitch, and the dust thereof into brimstone.
No, that's good. That's the point. The Lord is coming back for the controversy of Zion. The day of his vengeance. He's coming back for vengeance, man. All right? And then these two last things. Revelation 21, 1 through 3, and Amos 9 and 11. Read the Amos first.
This is the book of Amos. This is the book of Amos, chapter 9 and verse 11. It says, in that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen, and close up the breaches thereof. And I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old.
Ooh, there it is, man. That's what the Lord is coming back to do. To set up the house of David. Okay? Now we could probably get about 20 precepts to back this up. But we're just going to get the main one. Read Revelation, or what I feel is one of the main ones. Revelation 21, verse 1 through 3.
This is the book of Revelation, chapter 21 and verse 1. And I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from the Most High out of heaven.
So that's the 12 tribes of Israel coming down on those chariots back down to earth after overlooking the destruction of Babylon. All right? Because you got to be off Babylon to survive it. And you're going to be changed. All right? In a moment, in the blink of an eye. Like I said, there's a whole lot of precepts to go with this. All right? Matter of fact, get one more. The kingdom of this world has become the kingdom of our Lord. Get that one too. Go ahead.
It says, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of the Most High is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and the Most High himself shall be with them, and be their power.
So there we go. So we just read that the Lord is coming back to set up the tabernacle of David. Then he turned around and said that the tabernacle of the Lord is with men. What men? The Israelite men. Okay? And all the kingdoms, that means Russia, China, America, Israel, Japan, whatever it is, all these nations, all these countries, they belong to the Lord now.
That's right.
So everybody that's there is taking the knee.
That's right.
Y'all about it. Go ahead, get those. The kingdom of this world has become the kingdom of my Lord. So y'all got it twisted about when the Lord come back. Hence my necklaces. Right? And I finally get to wear them. Okay?
I got it right here.
But that's that Jasper and Charlene stone. That it said that the Lord's appearance and skin. Yeah? That's what this is. Jasper and the Charlene stone. Alright, so he didn't look like Netanyahu. He didn't look like that. This is a Jasper and sardine stone right here in my neck. Come on. Alright? Telling you what his skin looked like. Okay? Go ahead.
There's Revelations 11 and 18 and 15. And the seventh angel sounded, and there were great voices in heaven saying, the kingdoms of this world are become the kingdoms of our Lord.
That's it. See? So the Lord about to own you, man. He about to go through your window like he gonna take all your shit. Alright? You got one, bring it up.
Hey, 1 Corinthians 15 and 23. But every man in his own order, Hamashiach the first fruits, afterward they that are Hamashiach that is coming. Then cometh the end, when he shall have delivered up the kingdom to Yahweh, even the Father, when he shall have put down all rule and all authority and power.
So every flag at FIFA is going down.
That's
No flag flying, man. Alright? And whatever our flag gonna look like, it's gonna be cold.
Man, yeah.
Right? Go ahead, brother.
For he must reign till he had put all enemies under his feet.
Right? So you people got to put up as a pale person. You're an enemy. Alright? Because you're not really for his kingdom. Or what the Bible says about his kingdom, man. That's it. Hey, so with that, man, we're going to give all praise, all honor, and glory unto
Yahweh, Hashem,